Well, when you own Donald Trump, good things happen. Elon Musk is celebrating another legal victory regarding employment practices at SpaceX. The Justice Department has decided to drop its lawsuit against the company, which accused SpaceX of routinely refusing to hire refugees and asylees. Initially, the DOJ claimed that SpaceX incorrectly stated that it could only hire U.S. citizens or green card holders, which was inaccurate. However, rather than pursuing the case in court, the Department of Justice has chosen to dismiss it with prejudice, meaning it cannot be refiled in the future. Musk referred to the lawsuit as insane lawfare and shared evidence in the form of a government job listing that also required U.S. citizenship. Well, this is no shock this happened, Zabora, because again, when you give almost $300 million and Donald Trump allows you to do whatever you want to, of course, all of the cases. And remember, he was investigated by 11 different agencies, and all of those are mysteriously disappearing.
He's not, they don't care about what's right or what's legal or if this is equitable. They are doing everything to line their pockets. You can see that with the Senate vote. Like, they're doing everything to make sure that billionaires have more money and people of color, people with disabilities, people of any marginalized population or any area where there has been proven to have disparities are not being treated fairly. He don't care. And he's not going to hire anybody. He's not going to fight any of these cases. Every time a case is coming, they're getting dismissed. You can look at the mayor's, how his case was just indefinitely, we're not going to talk about that corruption. So everyone in this administration has some felonies. Well, a lot of them, I'm not going to say everyone, but a lot of them have felonies. A lot of them have criminal records. A lot of them have been charged with not doing proper hiring practices. And they have been utilizing these individuals that have not been green card holders or permanent residents for all of this time. So all of a sudden now it's a problem because you're on this side. So you can, take advantage of these individuals and not pay them what they're worth and treat them with no dignity for humanity. But then you want to, ride the side of, let me figure out how I can make sure that I'm not going to take care of this lawsuit that was clearly you doing something illegal and clearly you should pay the consequences. But because you're a billionaire and because you have all of this money and bought this election, his son told you he's the president, that man's not the president. Let him get up. So Elon is doing what Elon do, and Trump is just sitting there, and the American people voted this man in. At least I'm part of the 92% that did not vote him in.
Well, listen, this is all this is, Matt. And the bottom line is you're not getting somebody who is, Elon is going to get away with anything. And so, look, he's rewarding himself with a contract. At the end of the day, his $300 million was money well spent because he has the run of the country.
Yeah, exactly. He bought an election and bought the candidate and bought a presidency. Functionally, this is self-dealing. And this is what I find to be so incredibly difficult for me to understand, that people who claim to be Trump supporters don't seem to ever just acknowledge. And I don't know if that's always that they're just obtuse or if they purposely or they really just genuinely don't understand. But for all the rhetoric about draining the swamp and the corruption and all of that, how is it not per se corrupt that a person who's in an unelected position, given basically unfettered power, has the ability to kill actions looking into his action? That is like per se corruption. That's the kind of thing they would point to some other nation and say justifies our involvement in that nation's domestic relations, right? They would say this is anti-democratic for the government of whatever country to have some actor in it who is enriching their own pocket, who is killing, legal investigations into their business practices, and who's enriching themselves by virtue of their government position. But that's exactly what we have here. And for some reason, that is not proof positive of the corruption and the swamp that needs to be drained, if you ask the Trump supporters. And we know that they're living in a bizarro world, as we all are now these days. But I don't understand how this is so brazen and this is not something that smacks them in the face with the contradiction, because that's what we're seeing every day. You're seeing government overreach. I think Michael said that perfectly in one of the earlier segments. The federal government that they decry being too big is consistently overreaching into the purview of the states. A person working in the government who's not elected is given awesome power, not only to go into the treasury and get all kinds of codes, but to fire the people who are working in a nuclear agency and not even have the wherewithal to recognize they probably need to keep those jobs. I mean, that's terrifying, but it's also exactly what they claim to be standing against. And for some reason, they seem to be completely fine with it going on. So as time goes on, we'll see precisely how far those boundaries will be pushed out, because that's what Musk and Trump are doing right now. They are continuing to test the waters to see precisely how much they can get away with.
That's all it is. I said this, Michael, and it's very simple. These oligarchs are going to rape and pillage America, pure and simple. And Donald Trump has no problem with it because that's what he's doing.
Absolutely. That's what he's doing. And, raping and pillaging. I mean, this is what they do. We're going to have to stand up to this. And this is an example of how elections have consequences. And this was dealing with the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice also. And I just want people to note that the Department of Justice has stopped their civil rights investigations, like cold case investigations. You're going to see them stop doing investigations when it comes to civil rights violations, when it comes to schools, things of this nature. But what they are going to do, and this is in Project 2025, is they're going to investigate what they call violations of white people's rights. OK, violations of white people's civil rights. You're going to see this whole thing turn with this white supremacist administration. So Elon Musk is getting his money's worth. But at the same time, there is growing resentment in red districts. As we saw, I think it was yesterday, Representative McCormick's district in Georgia, the town hall meeting that he had. And you're starting to see this resentment in red districts. We're seeing farmers fearing that they won't get paid for work that they did dealing with federal contracts because you've had contracts that have been revoked because of Elon Musk and Donald Trump. So this is going to get worse, and more resentment and more outrage is going to start coming from Republicans.
Well, again, I'm just, listen, y'all, you got to allow certain things to go on, and they're happening. You can't stop them. And this is real simple, okay? All of these people out here who are getting screwed, getting jacked, it's gonna keep happening, and you can keep whining and complaining, but I'm just letting y'all know it's gonna happen. So, oh well, and then it's gonna be more MAGA tears.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase, and right now we're accepting investors in our $17 million round to revolutionize the future of social media. Today, for just $399, you can own 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. While the big platforms have grown too massive and disconnected from their users, Fanbase is building a platform where creators and users truly come first. We've already raised $4.8 million from everyday investors who believe in this vision, and now you can join them. This is your chance to invest in a social media tech company with over 1 million users that is disrupting media by allowing anyone to reach all of their following and monetize their content from day one. The market is changing, big platforms are failing to serve their users, and Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now. Invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the future of social media.